Hey, it's author and attorney Kelly O'Connell with Knockout Podcasts, and today we will be discussing the awful hypocrisy of the Biden administration accepting all southern border crossers but telling Cubans if you cross the sea you won't be accepted. Why? Very easy, my friends. Because of political affiliation, and we will get into that in just a moment. But first, a little bit of weird news. This has to do with insects that are entering your body. And there's a nice article on National Geographic about it. But there was a cockroach that had crawled into a woman's skull. It was technically between her eyes. And it had crawled in there. They think she may have, in fact, eaten it. And it got into her stomach and somehow got up there. But there are a number of ways for insects to get in, and roaches are the most common invaders in the world. A South African hospital pulled 24 cockroaches out of people's ears. 10 were German cockroaches, followed by 8 flies, 3 beetles, a tick, an assassin bug, and a badly mangled moth. So they weren't all cockroaches after all. So a New England Journal of Medicine article in 1985 talked about one patient who came into an emergency room with roaches in both ears. Couldn't hear very well, I guess. They were sprayed with numbing lidocaine so that they could be pulled out, yet one of the roaches shot out at a convulsive rate of speed and attempted to escape. Ears are not unusual. The nose itself is more unusual, and they say roaches are searching for food everywhere, and earwax could be appealing. And so roaches are not parasites technically, so they're not interested in being inside a body, but they will crawl around on people when they are asleep, and this is when the invasion happens. And I just wanted to mention to you Diddy, P. Diddy, the famous rapper and almost billionaire worth $885 million, I think, just gave his mom $1 million present for her 80th birthday. He said it was when he woke up with 15 roaches on his face that he realized that he was not going to be in that situation again, and he started really working his butt off to get out of poverty. So a roach can get up in the sinuses, and also there are invaders in the rectum, and it's not just Rock Hudson, friends. Leeches are also known to enter any orifice they can find, including the eyes, vagina, urethra, or rectum. In 2010, scientists described an unnerving leech species in Peru with huge teeth, dubbed it Tyrannobdella rex or T-Rex, and it's only been found in the nostrils so far. Intestinal parasites can include flies. Flies will lay eggs, and the maggots will infest and can go in the eyes and the rectum, and this is called myiasis. Almost sounds like my anus. And so in 1783, a Jamaican surgeon attempted to remove maggots from a patient's nose. And in a 52-year-old American woman, in her colon, when they were doing a colonoscopy, they found she had a roach in her colon, and she had a roach infestation at home. And so anyway, the main thing is remain calm, which is easier said than done. Okay, let's get to this story. I had to start writing it when I heard about it. The story that I've noted, I've titled it Cuban Refugees Blocked by Democrats as Future GOP Voters, and U.S. must counteract Southern liberal emigres by importing millions of conservatives. That's my idea anyway, and this is for Canada Free Press. All right, now, my friends, please think about this. Understand that Joe Biden only allows southern border immigrants because they will vote Democrat. So Cubans are blockaded because they will vote Republicans. End of story. Now, this is in the midst of an unprecedented 20 Cuban city protests where thousands of these people are going to be arrested. Many of them are going to be put in jail. And there's stories of Cubans 5 or 6 years old being put in prison for one reason or another. And I was teaching a class in Miami, and one of my students told me, I was teaching speech and debate. My student told me that when he was a teenager, they asked him to rat out his friend, and he refused to do it. I think he said he was about 12. And because he wouldn't rat his friend out, they sent him to prison, and he was in there for 3 years. It was an amazing story. I was astounded. So the idea that has been put out there, you remember when Nancy Pelosi went down to the border and she said, "Come, Americans, come," down on the border, and really a sickening display of an earlier attempt to overwhelm America with foreigners, to water down our population of informed voters. And so they were claiming Pelosi is a Catholic, and so is Biden. They were claiming that they were bringing these people in the name of love, in the name of mercy, in the name of humanitarianism, even though a third of the women, at least a third, are molested, they're raped, and the kids, some percentage of the kids are put into sex slavery. So you can't say that they love these people. So, but now we see that it's a complete hoax anyway, and I'll tell you why. Now, it was proven by Cuba. Cubans are more at risk than any Central American or Mexican group of people because they live in a tyranny. In a tyranny, you have no rights. You'd have no food. You know, you've got to go out and fight even for a meal. The government does not allow private business. The government, in a communist tyranny like Cuba is, medicine is rationed. And they say there's free medicine and everybody knows how to read, but there's not enough doctors there. They're sending them to other places like Venezuela and other places, and to Russia. So what's going on is that we now see the only people that are allowed free reign is people from, wherever they're coming from and getting into Mexico to cross the border. We know that there's 60 or 70 different countries, which does include Cubans as well. But isn't that ironic? A Cuban crosses the border here and they can stay here in the United States, in the U.S. border, from Texas to Florida, from Texas to California, but they can't from their own country. And here's the clip of this knucklehead speaking about this.
Allow me to be clear. If you take to the sea, you will not come to the United States. The United States Coast Guard has deployed air assets to be able to monitor the situation with great visibility from the air. We have not observed a surge in efforts to take to the seas. We have seen, of course, as we have seen historically, some people make the mistake of attempting that perilous journey. Those individuals are interdicted and returned to Cuba or Haiti. But we have not seen a surge at this time.
As a matter of fact, they want future Democrats. They don't give a damn about anybody other than a future Democrat because they want these people to come in and they want them to vote, even if they don't know anything about our political system, even if they don't know the difference between a Republican and a Democrat. But they do know one thing, that Uncle Biden has let them in, and many of them are coming in with Biden shirts. So they want to topple, especially Texas, Arizona, and Florida, but they're taking these people and they're using the U.S. military, they're using Homeland Security to fly these people across the nation. Now, if I told you that they were doing it against the law, you would believe that because we've already seen it. But did you know they're taking them to cities and towns across the United States, from Maine to Washington to Florida to California and all places in between, and they're doing it without telling the city. So the U.S. government is breaking the law, and I think it's sad that there's not enough politicians who care enough to stand up, or they're too afraid. So if you don't believe that the purpose is for politics, then you need to reread The Prince and understand how power is cultured, gathered, and amalgamated. And so, listen to this. You're not going to believe this. Alejandro Mayorkas is the head of our Homeland Security. You've seen him on TV getting interviewed or yelled at. He was born in Havana at the age of 1. He came over here, and he warned Cubans not to flee despite knowing firsthand the terrible crisis his own people are in. And he says, allow me to be clear, if you take to the sea, you will not come to the United States. If individuals establish a well-founded fear of persecution or torture, they are referred to third countries for resettlement. They will not enter the United States. They will be returned to Cuba. Interdicted and returned to Cuba is something else, he said. Now this begs the question, and please think about this, especially if you're a liberal. You're supporting these people because you think it's going to bring a better world, because we're going to become socialists. We're going to become less economically prosperous. We're going to reduce our military. And then what's going to happen? We're going to become part of this global socialism. Now, socialism in any country is the death of that country. What's it going to mean when it's global? There will be no place to escape to. So, why in the name of Zeus are they enforcing this law on Cuba, which is American law, but they're abandoning it from Texas to California and then spreading the results across the United States? In every state, these people are coming in and being dropped, and the cities, the counties, the towns, the states don't know they're coming, and they're doing it without permission. So, if you love Joe Biden, aka the shuffling first zombie in chief, you must understand his mind hopped a freight train out of town ages ago. And if you doubt this, then watch as Joe is asked a simple, apparently sinister question and then fumbles like a vampire in a sudden flash of light for a pocket card to read from. And I mean, he's like totally off balance on his heels. He's aghast. He's shocked. And so the question remains, who is making this myriad of ill-advised and simply catastrophic decisions that go against the interests of virtually every American? Simply blocking communist escapees from Cuba alone exposes the entire administration as a bunch of heartless political robots in search of unlimited power. Now, meanwhile, another story is cooking in the back of the stove. BLM came out in support of who? The refugees that are fighting for freedom, for rights? No. BLM came out in support of the Cuban government. Why? Supposedly because some black lady named Assata Shakur, who showed up before that other guy, the singer Shakur, she happens to be black. She killed a cop. She moved to Cuba. They protect her. They take care of her. Now, this isn't... think about this. They don't have any rights over there. They're constantly being harassed. How many Cubans are black? You know what it is? Almost 10%. That's about 1 million. It's over 1 million black people in Cuba, but BLM is backing the government. Isn't that sick? Yeah, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure this out. BLM had to back Cuba because the island is Marxist, and BLM are a Marxist group started by 3 black lesbian Marxists. So, corrupt. BLM is corrupt, and that's why the leader bought 4 mansions. So, and then she quit. So despite the fact that Cubans have absolutely zero rights or freedoms, including 10% or over 1 million black Cubans, BLM recognizes a higher power. Marx beats race any day of the week in 7 ways from Sunday, my friends. 7 ways from Sunday. The same is true in the U.S., Marxism being infinitely more important than any current fixation of the Democrats, despite all the propaganda suggesting otherwise, and that includes Floyd, who was killed. That includes all the other crap they claim to care about. Don't forget, as a humanistic political religion and power cult, Marxism only has the ability to seek power. It's like a blind bull sniffing the wind for fertile cows, upon which detection of, then all hell breaks loose. So here's a proposal, and this is the thing that you might find crazy, but think about it before you say, I don't think so, Kelly. Since billions of people across the globe want to emigrate to America, think about it. And that's despite U.S. liberal attempts to ruin our global reputation 1,000 different ways. We have a myriad of choices. This embarrassment of riches in potential emigres means that America can balance out the millions of instant Democrats. Just add Rio Grande water. And don't be a hater, that's a good joke, it's a good pun. With immigrants from conservative places, for instance, why not allow Northern Irish evangelical immigrants, the most Protestant country in the world, why not let in 1 million of them? I used to live in Ireland, and Northern Ireland is the most evangelical, it's the most Christian, it's the most born-again state in the world. Bring 1 million of those people, and they'd love it, and they would be so adaptable to America. They speak English, they understand British law, and they're very conservative, very hardworking people, lovely, lovely, humble people. Great accent, too, which is kind of a Scottish accent, because they brought a whole bunch of Scottish people over to the north. But anyway, that's another story. Or Australians, who also love freedom, and they know liberty and the law from British roots, and they also speak English. Think about it. What's going to help America, not what's going to help communism or socialism or the Democratic Party. Now, doddering, slobbering, and jabbering Biden might even go for this if you catch him at the right time, right before bed with his hot cocoa and ice cream. Think about it. Thanks for tuning in. Loved spending some time with you. Put a comment or two in these videos. I'm getting video watches, but I'm not really getting too many comments. And let me know what you think of my idea to bring in people from other countries besides Mexico or Central America, or all the other people, including a lot of unwanted people they're criminals, or they're perverts, they're sexual predators who come in here and they start over so that they can start their evil deeds. Anyway, thank you for... We'll have some more content this weekend. Hope you have a great evening, and hit the subscribe or like button, and let's get a little commentary going too. Have a wonderful evening. Ciao.